Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Gets Critical, a subsidiary of Xaereth Prevails, a Grand Arena story. First, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all of your support. Alright guys, the stakes are high. H3nz has to get through all 3 matches to be able to make Kyber. He's made it through the first 2. He has to win this one in order to get to Kyber, and it's exciting because we didn't know if it was going to be an exciting finale, if it was going to just be lame and he would lose his first match or his second match, but he didn't. He made it to the finals, and now we get to see what is going to happen, what's going to actually happen. And I'm asking that ironically a little bit because I already know. Alright, let's take a look at some stats here. H3nz is facing off against a dude named Phipps, or maybe the P's are silent, so it's Phipps, something like that. So he's facing off against a dude from Ma, and this guy has more lifetime banners by a pretty significant margin at that high level. They both have a pretty high amount, but this Phipps guy is not messing around. That's a lot of lifetime banners at this point in the game. Looking at the offensive wins and defenses and everything, H3nz is actually outgunned in basically every category. So it's going to be a pretty uphill battle just in terms of overall recent success. Looking at the actual stats here, H3nz is also at a disadvantage in mods, though not by much, just a very slight disadvantage. And in relics, I would say that Phipps is a little bit advantaged just because he has a couple more gear or relic 7s. It's not that big of a gap, honestly. And then just looking at the total overall available gear, again, Phipps has more gear 12, but H3nz has more gear 13, and in my opinion gear 13 is kind of the best stat to be looking at. You know, that's what's going to be the best indicator of probably winning, in my opinion. That, you know, if you have to look at any one stat, that's probably the one I would look at in general, unless it's like lifetime banners. But anyways, let's move into the match here. As you can see, H3nz is still facing this Phipps guy. I decided not to do the F sound for PH. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. And he jumped into the match, and the guy had already cleared him, and it only dropped 10 banners. And that's a pretty huge deficit to roll into. Now, he did want to provide some context for this match, so I'll read it to you in case you can't see it. You know, he just DM'd me and he said, you know, I quickly checked my screenshots about the defense I used. If you want to provide a bit of context with regards to your discussion on setting up a defense, scouting showed they always cleared for 1900 plus every match, using all strong offense except General Grievous. So I kept my strong stuff for offense too. His Darth Revan was faster, and put weaker teams in the front, stronger in the back, in the hopes that he can't plan as efficiently. So what H3nz is trying to say here is essentially that he used really weak teams on defense, and then he used slightly stronger weak teams on in the back row to try to trick the guy, and it only partially worked because the guy only dropped 10 total banners and got an amazing score. So you know, that's fine. That's part of his strategy. We'll just have to see how it plays out. He's gonna have to do some really great things on offense here to be able to beat, you know, a guy who only dropped 10 banners. So this is the right idea here. Traya is a pretty classic counter to these geos, and you know, he's undersizing it, and that's wise. And here's the reason for that. With that 1910 score that his opponent has, he needs to find points any way he can, and that means accepting a level of risk that normally, you don't want to have to take that level of risk. But you know, your opponent has attacked already. That's an advantage. You know how they've done, and now you need to use that advantage for everything you're worth, and that means that you need to maximize your banners. And You know, normally you can, if your opponent did a poor job, you can be a little more sloppy. H3nz can't afford that right now. And so he's getting a little bit lucky. They're all attacking his Thrawn. You know, they didn't just kill his Thrawn outright. You know, there's like this little gap in this match where sometimes you just can't protect him at all. So you know, wise of H3nz to hold that held by hatred or whatever that's called. You know, he hit the brute so that he can regain some protection. It's probably not going to be enough, and now it's honestly just time to finish it before they have the chance to take this away. So in the end, 60 banners is a pretty fantastic score. That means he only dropped 1 total. So off to a really great start here, and let's just see if he can capitalize on his strong start. Looks like he's going to focus this zone down, which is good. There's Night Sisters here, some of them relicked, and it looks like Padme is going to get a run with the Togruta lineup in the back there. And honestly, I didn't catch exactly how high the relics on this Padme team are, but, you know, if they're relicked at all, if this whole team is relicked, you know, Saj is only gear 12, like, it's not a really serious Night Sisters team, like, it's just not that strong. And, you know, that's fine. You know, I think that Phipps is, you know, probably a good player considering he's in Maw, but I actually think that H3nz could have gone with a 4-man lineup here and, you know, gotten 1 extra banner. You know, this clearly isn't the focus of this dude's roster, and you know, therefore, you know, a Padme team is at this point like super overkill against a Night Sister squad, and especially against a Night Sister squad with some gear 12 in it. I really think that this was an opportunity that perhaps he missed. You know, I do like Shak T here because she can help regenerate banners just a little bit. She can help heal some protection with one of her moves, but that doesn't always come into play. And frankly, I mean, she can dispel on the zombie. She's helpful, but you really don't need her there. You know, the fight might last a little bit longer, and you know, that's fine. I think maybe I would have undersized it. You know, and there is some RNG involved. It looks like he's actually keeping his protection pretty well stocked, so that's pretty cool. 59 banners. It's impossible to complain about that result. That means that only one of these characters actually got knocked out at all from protection. So that's pretty great. Good result. I mean, maybe undersizing it would have gotten him you know, 60, but who knows. So the next matchup here looks like he's going to take General Skywalker, and you know, against this General Grievous squad with Watt. And you know, it's hard to tell at this point if this is wise. I personally really just, I don't like Skywalker on offense, and that's my own, you know, I have my own personal reasons, and you know, I think they're good reasons. Of course I do, because I am who I am. But you know, this is it's just a tricky thing, because you're always gonna, like, these clones can't regenerate their protection, so you're already -5 just to start with in this match, unless you get lucky somehow. And you know, the final blow is dealt by Skywalker right after he finishes kneeling for a long time, and you know, and has his full protection, and that's just unlikely enough that you can't ever plan on it. So you are at a -5 banners, and you know, against Grievous, I think that this is actually a pretty wise move by H3nz. If he's going to take Skywalker on offense, then why not take it against a dude who might potentially just you know, take 5 banners from whatever squad is used to counter him anyways. Now this is pretty interesting. He left Watt until the very end because he doesn't need to kill Watt. Watt normally will revive Separatists, but because General Skywalker just completely ignores revive, then it doesn't matter. Like, none of his abilities are actually super relevant. Skywalker is a hard counter for most teams, General Grievous included. Nice to see that he didn't lose any characters, though. That does happen sometimes. So now we see that it looks like Jedi Revan squad is going to completely destroy this Newt with Nest team, and this Nest is only gear 12. This is another chance that H3nz had to undersize. Now, normally, if you're facing a really tough Nest, you want that Jedi Revan lead, just because he's the one, he's going to be able to reduce her health pool down to 0, and then you'll be able to just take her out really fast and easy. But this Nest was really just like super weak. Gear 12, H3nz does have a really strong Jedi team, and so what I would do here, honestly, I would just throw Hermit Yoda out entirely. Or even if I didn't throw him out, I would put Bastila as the lead, assuming that H3nz has that Zeta, which I'm guessing he does. And, you know, what Bastila does, she doesn't do anything better than Jedi Revan other than give everyone a huge starting stack of protection, of bonus protection that can't be dispelled and doesn't go away. And so what you can do is basically you just punch with impunity, and you know that when the fight's over with, you still have a ton of bonus protection, and you're guaranteed, without having to stress out, you're guaranteed to have those max banners. And you know, here with Jedi Revan, you can get some bonus protection. It looks like everyone has some bonus protection, so hopefully everyone's going to be fine. You know, and this was played well by H3nz. 60 banners is hard to complain about. I really think he could have gotten 61 because we don't know what's in the back zone here. He might need to drop some. He's already dropped 5. Like 5 is a huge number considering he can only drop 10 total in order to tie, and we don't know if he's going to win the tiebreaker or not. So anyways, he did get through there, and hopefully he has enough offense to go and beat the rest of this. So this is a really interesting squad here. He's got the Malak with Emperor and Sidious, and what he's trying to do here is get the feat that you have to win one with the Emperor and Sidious in it both. And that's fine. He wants to get the feat. Nothing wrong with that. Here's the thing, though. The Emperor and Sidious are going to lose banners. That's just how it works. Malak can solo this team easily on his own. He doesn't need anyone else. It's an established counter. You can absolutely 100% be able to just solo almost every single Old Republic team with just Malak, and so he could get 54 banners here. Right now his max banners, because he's taking 3 characters with him, is going to be 52, but Sidious and Emperor aren't going to be able to regenerate their protection, and so the cap now is going to be 60. 60 is still fine, but here's the thing. 60 is significantly less in banners than 64. I'm sure you guys can follow me math-wise, and you know, of course you want to get 60, but getting 64 is going to be so much better. And so what I would do, he already knows what all squads are available here and what squads he needs to counter with. Why not just wait? Why not wait and just, you know, if it happens to be that you need all 64 banners, then you just don't go for the feat, but you still get a win. And otherwise, you can just, you know, you can get the feat if you can spare 4 banners. I think that this should have been H3nz's last attack, or, you know, next last, just depending on what other teams are in the back. We haven't gotten a good look on those teams yet, but I'm willing to bet that they're not nearly as, you know, obviously wins as this one is. And so, you know, that's a slight criticism on my end. I think maybe his order of operations in choosing what to attack when is you know, is a problem. I don't necessarily, I think that Malak here against them is the right move. I just think that maybe Palpatine and Sidious with him, you know, that could really throw you off if you're not supremely confident in your ability to full clear here. you know, with max banners. And it looks like the teams in the back just really aren't that strong. So maybe, you know, maybe that's what's going on here. Looks like another undersized attack here with Darth Revan, Bastila, and HK. And, you know, this Kira team is... I don't know why people take these squads, man. I've never had problems with them, you know, and maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my supreme skill coming out, you know. No, I don't, at this level, it just seems like you never have a problem with a team like this. So 62 really fast banners. This was a big mistake by Phipps. I mean, I get wanting to have a strong offense. You always want a full clear. I get it. I always want a full clear. I'm right there with you. But you're going to put a squad like that on defense. You're going to put all these random squads here on defense. Like, that doesn't cost banners. Those guys can't do damage. Maybe they'll time someone out, but probably you're just going to annoy them slightly, and that's it. Like, just stop doing that, Phipps, please. So, anyways, we've got the classic Resistance versus First Order match. Can't use Ewoks here because we have Barris, but why would you use Ewoks anyways at this point? They're unnecessary. And this is so interesting to me, honestly. Like, not the match itself. I've done this about 1,000,000 times, and it looks like X3nz has the right target priorities and everything. But like, it's interesting to me because this match is going to be just so different in a few months. We're going to see, you know, all these new characters come into play, two like transcendent, amazing characters that, you know, half the community is really excited about, and the other half is like just really pissed off about. And you know, we're going to be playing these teams at a much higher level very soon. Right now, this is a battle between the B-class teams, and you know, that's fine. That's how it should be. And you know, X3nz did nothing wrong here, but you know, it's just an interesting thing to me. I'm excited to see what the landscape of Grand Arena is going to look like once we have a few more answers, you know, in terms of what kits are going to look like and everything. And everyone's going to have an insanely high relic everything. So 60 easy banners there for X3nz. That would have been my first match, frankly, though. You know, that was a pretty big question mark compared to the you know, Malik solo, or you know, like it was a trio. It became a trio. I think that probably should have been X3nz's move here. And now we have this Bosk team, and it's all gear 12. And you know, X3nz is undersizing here, and that's fine. At this point, though, actually, like, it probably doesn't matter that much. Like, this is a pretty weak bounty hunter team, all things considered, and you know, you just gotta hope that no one's gonna throw a grenade and they drop him by 4 banners, which he did throw grenades. It doesn't look like he did much damage, so if he can finish these guys off in time, then those grenades won't explode and he'll be fine. But you know, this was a laugher. 61 banners here. Honestly, he had enough banners in excess at this point that he could have gone full 5-man just to guarantee the win. But you know, this was good. So in the end, he actually won by a pretty huge score. Like, 1917 is no joke. I've only gotten that score a couple times. And frankly, I mean, this is the ultimate condemnation, in my opinion, of leaving an uninspired defense while you go full offense. Like, 1910, great. You're putting the pressure on your opponent. That if they fail once, then you win. But if they don't fail, and they find all of your really awful teams in the back, then, you know, you're just gonna lose. And maybe that hasn't always been the case. I mean, the guy clearly has a ton of lifetime banners, so maybe I'm missing some important key here. But I mean, X3nz played it honestly, this was the most complete match that we saw out of him. I think that maybe, you know, targeting these back zones a little bit differently, the back squads a little differently, just to guarantee a win was probably a slightly better thing. But otherwise, I mean, he knew the right moves, and you know, this was a great match. He needed to step up and, you know, get into the clutch here. Here's his defenses, by the way. You can take a look at them if you like. And you know, he needed to step up his game, and he did. Like 1917 to 1910, like it wasn't even close. You would think that 1910 would necessitate like a really close score, but 7 banners is not close. So you know, well played by H3nz. You know, I think that this was fun to watch. Really cool to see. It was do or die every single step of the way. He even got a draw to be able to get here, but in the end he did make it to Kyber. The thing that honestly, the biggest mistake that H3nz made, in my opinion, is he didn't give me any screenshots to show how he made it into Kyber. So you guys just have to trust me when I say I promise that he made it into Kyber, and he did. He made it into Kyber a lot of other times as well, so not that surprising, but it was fun to see him you know, get through these guys. That there are a lot of really skilled players, and he did it. So you know, mandatory plug for my Patreon. Like he's my patron, and he rocks this much. Think how much you guys could rock. Just kidding. It sounds like I'm greedy, and I'm not. I'd prefer to avoid that image, even if it might be true. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks H3nz so much for sending me all these videos. You know, really appreciate that. It's a lot of fun to watch other people play at a high level, and you know, that's what this was. So anyway, stay tuned for my next Grand Arena match. That'll come out in a day from now. And, you know, we're started on the new season, so we needed to get this out. That's part of why I'm putting it out tonight, even though it's the end of the old season and we're starting the new one now. So stay tuned for that. Excited to show you that match. And anyways, guys, one more time, thank you so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.